so-called financial advisors, so-called financial experts will come into your community or your football club, and they will start to, seems like it's an educated way, but like confuse you with bullshit or facts and figures and get you to invest into certain things or kind of funnel money out of you.
Yeah.
So I mean, one, do you agree with that? And two, do you think that's still happening now? And going back to the question, do you think footballers, especially high profile ones, are targeted?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's just high profile. I think, any footballer is a target, especially today in social media circles. What you have to realize is that being a footballer, you are rightly or wrongly in the public eye. And you have to live your life accordingly. I was always told with social media, if you wouldn't say it down the lens of a camera, don't say it on social media. Was always a golden rule for me. So I try to still live by that rule. There is a perception in football or outside of football, that all footballers are dumb. If you talk about the difference between football players and rugby players, football players are well paid, extremely well paid public school kids who have had pretty much no upbringing, who have to deal with life as it is. Rugby players not paid anywhere near as much as football players, probably privately educated, and have a better understanding of what life is like outside of their sport. So when it comes down to institutions coming into football and talking to football players about finance, whether it be mortgages, whether it be investments, whether it be property, whether it be anything in terms of those sort of sector, they're an easy, very, very easy target because they don't know it. So what you need to have is honest people, and you need to have people who are very, very clever around you to know when you're being taken advantage of. So what you find now is a lot of players. Dele Alli's very, very clever in the way he does it. A lot of people probably don't know things about Dele Alli and don't get me wrong, I don't know him either, but I know a little bit about his story. So he basically got taken in by a separate family when he was young, and now that family, the son of that family is now his basically manager, and he looks after all their they have a property company that he looks after all his properties and his finances and everything else, and he's always there when he does his deals because he looks after him. So any major decision, this guy and they sit down and they talk together, and there's no rubbish, there's no bullshit, it's what do you think kind of thing, and they come up with a decision which is best for him, not what's best for the company, not what's best in the 10 years time or 20 years time. It's what's best for him now. So when I have these conversations with people in and outside of football, what I think is very, very difficult, because from a football club's point of view, if they had a financial advisor, if they had a mortgage broker, if they had an investment counsellor who would determine whether you're a high, medium or low risk person, if you had a car guy, if you and then all of a sudden something goes wrong out of those companies, you lose money, your car gets broken into and stolen, or we go into a recession and you can't pay your mortgage or whatever it is, all of a sudden you as a player are then looking at your club basically saying, well, you guys put me into them, you now kind of have to get me out of it, sort of thing. So there's very, very got to be very careful from a club's point of view, as well as if you talk about the PFA and the FA and all the other institutions in football, because the same would be the case with them. So if you look, like if you were the PFA and you come into me and said, like, we know this guy and he's done really well for X, Y and Z footballer, go with him. And then all of a sudden he puts you into a scheme of for whatever, whether it be investments, mortgages, whatever, and that loses you money. All of a sudden then you look at him, but then you look at the club put you into it, or the PFA who put you into it, you'd be like, well, you said he was really good and now he's just lost me money, so where's my money, kind of thing. So it's a very, very difficult thing. So what I think needs to happen is it needs to be a little black book of very, very well trusted people. So again, property people, finding your best returns for the areas that you want to invest in. Newcastle, Manchester, Liverpool, down south, London, Surrey, wherever it would be. You decide that. Then you go to the mortgages. We have the best mortgage brokers in the country. We might not be the best on rates, but we will find you what's best for you. Investments. Are you a high, medium, or low risk investor? You know, if you're a high risk investor, Bitcoin is the one for you. If you're a medium investor, I don't know, whatever the next one is. If you're a low investor, gold might be for you. You know, whatever it is. Same thing for cars. Same thing for jewelry. Same thing for what. So you have a sort of 5-man shortlist, and then in your investment portfolio, you invest into a pension scheme, because that's what you need to make sure that you're right after football. Bearing in mind now, footballers can't access their money in a pension from the day they retire till 55. So if you're very lucky and you get to 35, 20 years, you can't access your money. So that in itself is a long period of time that you have to try and find some money for. So pension for one, I would say property would be another one, because as long as you can afford to, and you get rents in buy-to-lets, if you get enough rent in to cover your mortgages, you shouldn't really go too wrong with mortgages, with property. And then it comes down to the other couple, which is investments in terms of stocks and shares, or whether it be something else. And then your mortgages
into Woodbury House art.
So
you said it, not me.
You just like, so then I think that there needs to be, like I say, a little black book of companies who are well trusted. And listen, it wouldn't be a case of whether if it was the PFA or the FA, whoever said, like, these are our 5 companies. It wouldn't be them turning around and going, you have to invest with them. Please go and invest with them. They are the best. It would be like, you've just signed a new deal worth 150 grand a week. The likelihoods are you're probably going to get a knock on your door, or the phone's going to ring, and it's going to be this is and this person, and they're going to try and sell you this is and this investment. If you want to go with them, fine, no problem. But talk to these guys, because these guys are the best, and these guys we trust. You don't want to go with them, fine, go out on your own and do your own thing. At least then they get that little bit of a gap between. We want you to invest with them, and we want you to be with them, and we want you to be financially secure at the end of it. To don't do it and go with somebody else and be a good luck on a whim sort of thing. So there is a big thing, and the stats are seriously damaging to football and football players. There's like something like 78% of footballers after the first 5 years go bankrupt. And I think it's even worse for divorce levels. So that sort of says to you that within football, people aren't looking after their money. And then after football, they continue to live the life of being a professional footballer, earning X amount of millions a year or whatever, and they can't sustain it. So there needs to be people looking after them, but looking after them for their sake, not the companies making fortunes off of them.